It's been wrong in the past, even at those levels, but I do think it's a sure thing this time.
And I finally had a sure thing.
The stock market was a sure thing.
Sure thing.
Not a sure thing.
Sure thing.
It wasn't a sure thing.
It's a sure thing.
Amen.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Not a sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing. Sure thing.
Sure thing. Sure thing.
I don't think it's a sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Not a sure thing. Sure thing.
Must be a sure thing, but I don't think it's a sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
Nature, everybody wants to rule the...
Should really do it in order of importance. A big thank you to our patrons Mike Post, Alex, Andrew Gray, Hank, Daniel Walker, RJ. Good man. Just reading out the patrons to say thank you. Garth Palmer, Harrison Summers, Max, Robert Lewis, Tom Swain, Ben Johnson, Ron, Badger, Kaz, Brody, Henry, George Cedric, Christopher Radgill, and then this one just says if name, Matthew Jockman, Charlie Sanderson, Carter Lang, Edwin Quinones, Quinons, Griffin Man, Matt Hefferon, Philip Larscheid, Slob Seeger, Tom West, Zach Trent, Derek, Keith O'Connor, Karen Strickland, and Richard Wallner. That's an order of contribution. So thank you so much, all of you. You're all super based, mad retards. Good stuff. How's that, man? Does it look good?
Mate, let me just get the final thing going.
Yeah. The final,
No,
the final thing.
No, it doesn't look good.
What do you mean?
The problem is I'm on camera. I'm an ugly cunt. We thought it was Jamal putting me off. It's my own face, dude.
Well, don't look at your face. Look at my face.
It's like looking at, do you know, like an ugly person, and it just distracts.
Well, it is
you.
looking
You
at an ugly
unsettled.
person. That's exactly what it is.
You know, when you're in the beach and you're really relaxed, you have cocktails, and you see a fat fuck walk past, and you're like, I don't feel good anymore.
Yeah.
Going home, I'm gonna.
Old dude, Speedo, anything like that.
The Speedos just pull you out of the moment. You're there with your dream date, and then you see a fat guy walk past, and you're like, humans are disgusting. I'm going back to the room. I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't want to be part of this anymore. Dude, you know what's so funny about all this tech shit? Is I lied to you. I did go to Cash Convert. This is the story. I went to Cash Converters.
Yeah.
I bought a laptop for $500. It sucked. It was so bad.
What? No way. What a surprise.
No, but then what happened is I realised it was Cash Converters. So I was able to go back and I'm like, hey, this thing sounds like a tractor when it's running. And they go, yeah, it's a piece of shit. And then I upgraded to like Lenovo for about $1,200. So basically I spent the same amount that you had suggested.
Yes.
But I've got a second-hand shit laptop from Cash Converters. It's pretty good.
Is it?
Oh, dude, well, who knows, man? What
I
do
would know. If I saw the specs, I would know exactly.
Well, the specs, you're going to get ripped off at Cash Converters when they see you and the first laptop you took was a tractor and you're like, oh, this seems good. And they're like, look, he went away with a brick. He loves it. And then you come back in and try and negotiate hard. I want better processing speed. And they're like, you'll get a toaster, mate. You don't know what you're fucking doing. We're going to sell you any piece of shit, you moron. I could have gone away with a lawnmower. And I go, I just can't turn the screen on. And you're like, yeah, it's a fucking lawnmower, you dumb fuck. I don't know what I'm doing with this shit.
Yeah, but what? How come in the face of being told exactly what you need to do, you don't want to do it?
Dude, because I don't like listening to other people. Because I don't trust. I'm so arrogant.
But even me, though. It's me. Come on, you can.
I know,
trust
man,
me.
but I'd rather get lost than ask my wife for directions.
Well,
Hey,
she's gone, mate. She's fucking out.
But you know what I mean? It's like, I would rather fuck up than be proven wrong. People will be like, oh, dude, we've driven past Optus Stadium. And I'm like, that's irrelevant. As long as we're following my directions.
But you
You're
fucked
near
up
the
and
airport.
been proven wrong, though. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I have been proven wrong. Man,
And
but
fucked up.
I'm very worried.
It's both outcomes of the worst. Like you fucked up and been proven wrong time and time again. You know, like
Well,
nothing is redeeming about the choice that you've made.
Oh, mate, I get proven wrong on a daily basis. But my ego just drives in and go, look, it's just a misunderstanding. I'm sure I'm fine. But man, I'm worried about the pods because the last step you said's horrible, and I tend to agree. And then I'm like, well, what are we going to do about it? We need to get 2 different hosts. Like, there are people listening, but we can't deliver anymore. I can't fucking...
You think it's us, maybe, we're the problem.
Well, I think, like, Sure Thing as a concept works. We just need 2 different hosts, and it might blow up. Do you know what I mean? If we can get Bert Kreiser in here and then Gillis on the other end. And I'm like, yeah, we gave you the business, you know, like...
We're going to go local, man. We're going to go local. Like, who locally are we picking? You know what I mean?
Oh, man, it's very hard. I can't think. I'll have to come back to you in a few days. It's very hard to find. I don't know if anyone's talented. Is there anyone really talented? Ever?
Yeah. Some people are talented.
Dude, you know, Rathy, I looked. He uploaded Melbourne Comedy Festival. They did a video.
Yeah.
And Sharon Stone liked it. It's just such a crazy thing.
Like fucking Basic Instinct Sharon Stone.
The one that flashes her pussy on the swivel chair.
Where did he upload it to? I have to see
Dude,
this.
it was on Melbourne Comedy Festival, 1,000 views, and I'm like looking, going, oh look, it's just nerds that have no life, and then I'm like, what the fuck? A blue tick,
But like
Sharon Stone
on
has written,
Instagram? Is
and she's
this on Instagram or where?
Dude, on I think it's on Instagram, and not just liked, hysterical laughter. Come and look at me on the swivel chair, Rathy, and I'm like, she's one of 1,000 people. I don't know how she found this fucking video. And I'm like, it's incredible that Sharon Stone wrote, ha ha ha, emoji, ha ha ha, blah blah. And it's there's only 12 other people watching the fucking video. Like, how did it find her way into inbox?
I'm looking through now because I have to see this. That's amazing.
Rathy, I can send you the link. We'll put it on. That could be the cover of this episode. Rathy was with Sharon Stone, hysterical laughter, and then you're like, is it inconceivable that Rathy could end up dating Sharon?
Oh my god, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, imagine if Rathy.
That's so good, dude.
Rathy ends up banging Sharon Stone. Like, obviously.
What the fuck?
Obviously not movie star, good looks Sharon, but still Sharon Stone. Like, you're still pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Barbecue.
I mean, you know, like, you can't take away Basic Instinct from Sharon. Like, she is Sharon Stone. Whether she is now or she once was.
Dude, that's what I'm saying to you. Imagine he can take her to a barbecue and people go, yeah, recognize her? Yeah, it's washed up Sharon Stone. I'm banging her. I'm like, you are kidding me. And then you go, get up on the swivel chair, Sharon. They'll all recognise you when you show your pussy.
Give her a push around.
And they'll just be this grey pussy and they go like, yeah, it does look a bit similar to that bit that we kept freezing on to jack off when we were growing up. You've got the real deal. Do you think, because we spoke about it last week, do you think there is an expiry date on people? Like where, like, if you're banging like Dame Edna, that's actually
Dame Edna. Yeah, okay.
Obviously Dame Edna in her peak is wow, wee wow, but now as she's aged and become
Dame Edna is Barry Humphries, man.
Dude, what do you mean? She was a stunner. I couldn't believe, like, she started off as a weather girl, Miss Universe, and then sort of, she's like Darius.
Dame Edna has not changed his look for 40 years.
She was a saucy weather girl to start off. And now she's like,
I think you mean a different Dame, dude. What Dame are you? Dame Judi Dench?
Dude, I'm so bad with Australian celebs. I can't tell the difference between Denise Drysdale and Dame Edna. I think they're the same person.
Did you mean Judi Dench?
I'm like, are they all the same lady?
Did you mean Judi Dench?
No, I didn't mean Dench because we're talking about how Amos got me on Raya and I wanted to bang Judi Dench. That was my dream. Washed up, like 90-year-olds, and then just tell people, dude, I'm fucking her like in the last year of her life. I know it's not great, but you know you're late to the party, but you're still with a movie star.
Yeah,
a movie star, and you can just do the line, "Get out of here, you're a loser." I don't know if that's one of her lines. What's one of her famous? I'm walking here. I'm walking. Is that one of her lines? When she hits the taxi and yells, I'm walking here. Her famous line.
Yeah, Dame Judi Dench as New York guy
Oh, mate.
crossing the road.
We spoke about it before, hey, how I was on Raya, but because I don't have an iPhone, I can't sign up.
Yeah, that's sad. I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't know if that caliber is what you should be shooting for.
Well, it would be very hard when they ask, like, so how'd you get the blue tick? And I'm like, oh, a friend, a handle. And they're like, what do you do for a career?
Yeah, they're
like,
like, do you know Amos Gill? And they're like, oh, I love Amos Gill. And you're like, well, I know him. That is
like,
deflating.
So what have you done in your life? Oh, I've got bipolar, so I've got delusions of grandeur. And they're like, have you achieved anything? I'm like, in my head, I am Napoleon. So like, and they go, but you live with your parents. And I'm like, yeah, but that's just bad luck. And fuckheads blocking me. I should be the master. I should be the master of the universe. I should be in there like
the universe.
Like Kanye West said, I want to own the world. Remember when he said that? He goes, I want to own the whole earth. And they're like, he's saying to Rogan, and he goes, so what's your goal, Kanye? And he goes, to own planet Earth and all money. And you're like, but he actually succeeded, dude. That's the joy of bipolar. If he had been put on meds, he'd be working at fucking Chick-fil-A. What's that fucking? He'd be working at a fast food restaurant.
Wanted to be leader of the free world.
Yeah.
That's mental illness backed up by talent, right?
Yeah. Well, that is, in my opinion, that's all the great people. When mental illness collides with talent, you can't just have talent. You have to have mental illness where you're also like, yeah, I'll just release this album. It's amazing. Like, because otherwise, if you don't have mental illness, you'll be like, this isn't that good.
Don't listen, stay away. Oh, it's all right. I worked hard on it.
And you would sort of be negative PR, because I went to a show last night and the guy said, don't bother coming. Look, the numbers are worse than we expect. And he goes, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. And I'm like, dude, aren't you the promoter? And I get there were 4 people there. I go, dude, I'm headlining, and I almost pulled out. I'm like, dude, you're so negative on the marketing, going like, we'll make the best of it. It's going to be a bit of a nightmare. And I'm like, dude, don't put that on fucking Instagram, you idiot.
Yeah.
There might have been 3 other idiots coming along. And then I almost tried to pull out, dude. I had to do 15 minutes in a lit retro game store. The guy that was running the sound was listening to a podcast the whole time. He only said one comment during one guy goes, oh, I've got one joke on games. And the guy yelled out, yeah, and that was shit. And then that was the only laugh. The 2 other people laughed. That was the best bit.
Perth is a magical place for comedy, man.
Oh, mate, a fully lit room, standing there, and then just, it's just hard, man. But dude, I can't believe I feel bad because I released Circling the Drain as a defiant thing because you went to lunch, and I was like, I'll just release it. And when I was listening to my car, it's unlistenable.
I haven't listened to it because I didn't want to give you any extra downloads.
Dude, the last 20 minutes doesn't sync, but you can't really tell because I talk over anyone everywhere anyway. So he's just laughing in weird spots, and then he's like, my Auntie Jenny, and I'm like, just steamrolling. And the problem is these Zoom chats, dude. When I'm talking to you now, it's like I'm in a cave. Why can't I just have why is the world trying to smite me?
No, you almost had an introspective thought there, and then you turned it into an external blame thought. Let's go back to the introspective thought. You were so close. You said, why can't I? And then you switched and you said, why is the world? You were so close, man. That was like a breakthrough. If you were in a psychiatrist's office, they would be like on the edge of their seat going, yes. And then as soon as you said, what is the world? They would go, oh, fuck.
Dude, I've definitely spiraled. Last night, my parents got home from Bali, and they were
they're back finally.
They were both lying with blankets on. They looked like the family from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory lying in the bed. And I was
Wait. Is this in a bed, or are they just snuggling on the couch?
No, they're in their bed, lying under blankets. They're these aging pensioners, and I'm just yelling at them about life. And they're going like, this isn't normal, Andrew. Like, why are you in here? And I'm like, it's all, you've been scammed. Everyone's been scammed by the Matrix. And they're going, can you please, look, we're just back from Bali. We've had massages every day. Can you go into the other room? Like, we need a break. And I'm like, yeah, that's what a fucking slave would say. That's what a slave would say. You're indoctrinating me, you motherfucker. You want me to go back in a job? I'm like, you are part of the fucking Gestapo. I don't trust you, mama. No, I didn't go that far.
They just hold on. They went to South Africa.
No, they went to Bali, man.
No, that's what I'm saying. But they went to South Africa a couple months ago, and then they've gone to Bali as well.
Well, you know what the thing is?
They're trying to get away from you.
They're basically using the last of their money. They've just got to be away.
Yeah.
You know what's going to be the worst is when they're renting near their own house. And I'm like, why have you rented? My mum was threatening to rent somewhere. They were going to actually get a rental and just leave me in the house.
Man, I don't know why they haven't like bought you a Jayco or something and put you in the driveway.
Oh mate, that has always been my idea. Like my brother bought a house, and he has a bit of council land out the front, and I was stepping it out to see like I reckon I could fit a caravan on here. Hey,
He must have been so nervous about you doing that.
Dude, it's quite interesting. It's 10 meters by 5 meters, and most of the better caravans are about 8 meters by 4. I might even have area for a little out area where I can cook sausages on a bit.
Is this the same one who you were parking around the corner in the new piece of shit car that you were you didn't realize you were embarrassed about to go visit?
Oh, dude, I had it. I get so humiliated with this new blue car because it's like.
What is it? What is it again?
Oh, I couldn't believe it because when I went to the car yard, it was about half the price of all the others, and I was like, "This is incredible." And they go, "Yeah, it's a Korean engine, and a lot of them are being recalled. They blow up." And I was like, because I'm a gambler, I'm like, "Well, 1 and 2 must work." So
Yeah, roll the dice.
I'll get lucky.
What is the car? What's the car?
It's like a Holden Captiva. It's so ugly.
What year? What year?
I think it's whatever year they were recalled.
Well, I don't know how to. I mean, I could search for that, I guess.
Oh, dude, but I had it with the parents last night because we had Father's Day. So we
The
had to go in.
2006 to 2010 Captivas.
Dude, we had it with the fathers, and I was chatting, and they've all got nice cars.
Hey, man,
And
that looks fine. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, but all the fathers had nice cars, and I was chatting. We're having a laugh. We're all walking back from the event to our vehicles. And I'm almost about to say, look, yeah, this is just a loaner. I had a crash. This is just a lender.
Which in a way is correct. Maserati. You did have a crash on the market, and that is a loaner. That's a like things have gone. It wasn't a physical crash, but the terminology is the same.
Dude, I just don't understand because I'm a hardcore gambler. And how long will the world hold me underwater? Like, it doesn't matter if I'm good at trading or not. If you keep throwing your life savings into random shit, it eventually has to come off.
Yeah.
Just on logic.
I know, but it does. It's just that you keep gambling. You know what I mean? You're like, put it all on black. Put it all on black. Put it all on black. Even if it comes up black 40 times, the 41st is going to be red.
A monkey throwing darts eventually hits the board, right?
You hit the board. You hit the board all the time, man. It's just that a lot of the time you're eating your own shit. Dude,
I have often wondered, like, I think I'm better off to just spray randomly and just pick, like, based on number plates, just pick those codes. And just go, oh, that guy cut me off. It must be a sign.
Well, we talked about it. It was like, what? Like, the average ASX since inception has been like 10% yield per year. 10 to 13.
Do you know what I really want is, I think 80% of people that are successful were lucky, but I want to do an exam where we can prove that. So you do have a Maserati, but we're like, statistically, you're an outlier. It's not meant to have happened for you because you're dumb. Yeah. And then so they don't get to be egos. You know, we've done a Mensa test. You got an IQ of 110. It's ridiculous that you own an oil company. It's fucking insane. I'm like, this is a once in a million chance, you know, like a blue moon. And they're going, mate, McFly, and you can tap them in their head, wake up, you won the lottery. You have no talent. This is a fucking anomaly that should never have happened. These are just the same way that you get an albino in Africa. Do you know? It's a white black boy. Dude, I was talking, do you know what I reckon? Do you know how people are always talking about sponsor kids?
Yeah.
Do you reckon anyone sponsors the albinos? Because they don't really get the photo. On the fridge, it looks white.
Are you saying that if you were doing like a World Vision thing, you'd get the picture back of the albino black kid and you'd be kind of disappointed?
You're angry because you got to put it on your fridge and you're like, hey, that looks like a white boy. And you're like, why are you sponsoring a white kid? You're like, I want the full experience. I want a vulture near a kid lying in the desert. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that looks like it could be my son. Why am I sending money to a white, because I'm saying so much of it is virtue signaling. I bet you there would have been people that got the photo and it was an albino sponsored child and said, this is going to work. They've
got a texter and they're colouring it in.
I'm like, dude,
Man, how good would that be to go around to someone's house and they've coloured in with a texter and it's still on the fridge?
Dude. And it's like, is this pen? And you rub it, it comes off. This is texter. And you're like, yeah, well, it looks like a lawyer's son. We got fucked over. But we felt too bad to revoke the money, but he looks like he could get employed. He looks like he's got white privilege, so it's like, it sucks.
Do they still do that as part of the World Vision thing? Like, do you get the... Because that seems like such a huge cost sunk into sort of like basic administration. You know what I mean? Like envelopes coming back and postage and like you got to get your photo taken. It's not, man, they don't have cameras lying around. You know what I mean? Like it's not digital.
Yeah.
Like they got to, the village Kodak is being passed around by World Vision, and then they're going to develop it. Man, there's no fucking pharmacy nearby. They're going to develop it 150 miles away.
Dude, but they do send photos because I had a Thai boy. I got talked into a wedding drunk when I had a bit of money, and I sponsored a Thai kid to get him out of sex slavery. So he was in like this little village, and I could see that he was definitely my one. Like I recognised the features, and he grew up. But then obviously when I hit the divorce, I had to cut him off, and that was bad because I'm still on the website. So I see him older now. He's hit puberty, and I cut him off at about 12. And I don't know how he stayed in the village. I assume that he's pimping out the other kids. He turned into a sex trafficker. That's what Amos was saying. He turned into a sex trafficker at about 12, and he's infiltrated the camp. And
but he wasn't in. Like you were saving him from sex.
I was saving, so we're in the camp, but then at about 12 I let him go, he hit puberty, and I'm sure he's got a couple of kids sucking dick through the fence because he should have been kicked out because I stopped funding him. He should have been thrown to the street. The next video I wanted to see was him.
They were intervening early. It's not like they had found a bunch of kids who were already sex trafficked, right? Like
Imagine how bad it was if they guilted you in and you cut him off, and then there was a photo of him in high heels with lipstick. Like, all right, I'll keep paying. Fuck's sake! Why is he at the late night district? This sucks. I'm like, take the money. I'll look after my kids. You can't have them out at 3 a.m. prospecting for sets. I don't like this.
Could you write back to him?
What?
Could you write back to him?
Dude, they don't let you contact because I think a lot of the sponsors are actually pedophiles.
Well, I was just wondering because, like, what I assume, right, is that the money's amortized. First of all, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you're $30 a month, and then 100 other people's $30 a month.
Well, that's actually what happened.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, are you getting a photo? Is anyone else getting a photo of your boy? Like, is Gabuta going out to anyone else?
That would be the amazing thing where you go to a mate's house and on their fridge is your boy.
Yeah.
And you're like,
what the fuck? This is my sponsor child.
I'm like, you need to put barcodes on these sponsor kids. Like, we're getting duplication. How many people are sponsoring this fuckhead? This fuckhead's got a sports car in Thailand. You know when how they have the sports car in Thailand where it's like a Toyota and they put a cutout on top that looks like a Maserati?
Oh man, those are the best, dude. The cardboard ricer body kits. Those are great.
Dude, that is my dream car, where it's my Holden Captiva, and it looks like it's got a cutout around it, and they go, dude, that's not the real deal. I'm like, shut your mouth. And I'm like, it's a cardboard cutout. It's like a cardboard box over your vehicle. And you're like, room, hop in, ladies. Someone's hit the big time. And you're like, someone's bought a kit online and fucking But it's the dream car, don't you think? A fake Ferrari that's actually a Toyota Corolla.
I've seen very funny ones where they've got like the cardboard spoiler, but then they go insane. Like they put like cardboard wings and like rocket boosters on the back and like scoops on the front. They're great. I love them.
Because that's one of my favorite TikToks is a guy that goes. He's a Canadian guy that goes and he goes, I want a shit box. I'm going to go get a shit box. And he goes and haggles with people for shitty cars. And he's like, how many heifers can we fit in you? But he basically goes in and these people all need the money. So they're asking for 18 grand and he offers $3,000. And he goes, it's a piece of shit. This shit box, that's reasonable. Look under the thing. How many heifers? You can only fit 2 heifers in this. And the last one I lost last night, he almost got hit in the head. The guy chased him up his driveway. And then they buy the shit heap and then sell it to other people and they use stock photos. So people come down and they're like, this isn't the same car. And he goes, what do you mean? It's a beautiful car. Listen. They had one clip where they went to pick up the car and when he opened the door, there was a drunk guy lying in the back that ran out. But it's funny, man. But I was saying to you, like, the kids, you're correct. It's all communal funds.
Yeah, of course.
They're playing on your sympathy. Because my boy, I thought, look, I'm moving out of Nedlands. You're moving out of your safe passage from sex trafficking. And that made me feel better.
Yeah, the
I'm
quality
like,
of his life should be directly comparable to the quality of your life.
Dude, you rise and sink on the same tide. How dare he stay in his community when I'm back at my parents'? I'm like, if I go down, you suck a dick, mate, because that's fair.
Yeah, we're all putting in. Look, mate, Gavuto, I'm going to need some of that money back. I'm being honest with you. Things have gone bad on the market. I've tallied up, man. I've sent you about $2,700. I'm going to need $500 back.
But don't you think it's fair? You rise and fall with the fortunes of your sponsor. God smited me. So as my son, he smited you. And it's time to get out there and get some lipstick on and get onto some foreign cock, you fucking asshole.
Why should my kids be settling for secondhand school supplies while you're getting brand new school supplies? You're supposed to be my sponsor kid. You shouldn't be living it up more than my actual kids.
They got better presents than my kids did. They got brand new footballs. Mine was secondhand. And I'm like, look at that. Look at that hamper of gifts. Fuck you. A brand new football. Mine's like the leather's coming away. And I'm like, it just must be a malfunction from the Chinese factory. I'm telling my kids, and I'm like, we need to switch them out. I need to get my boy into that refuge and take Takut, or whatever his fucking name is, into my world. And go like, mate, you're going down with the ship. You can't, you're part of the captains. You got to play the violin right until we go into water. You don't get to jump off and get a new sponsor. Yeah. You live with me, fuckhead. You picked a bad, some people get bad luck.
Yeah,
don't you think?
Yeah. Man, if you can invest in a bad stock, he can at least get a shitty sponsor.
Where's the goodwill? Where's the goodwill? Many single mums have done it. You become a stripper. I'm like, where's your fucking commitment to our family? We took you in during the boom times. Now you need to suck dick so daddy can drink beer and live in his deluded world of becoming a stand-up. I'm like, he's not lifting. We're all making sacrifices, Katut.
I really did think that you'd be able to contact them. If they're writing you letters all the time, you'd be able to write back and be like, oh, good to see you're enjoying your new shoes. Here's a photo of my Nike Air Jordans. They're a bit nicer, but, I got new shoes as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah. This would be so good. Where he shows photos of his shoes, and I go like, yeah, they're okay, but look at my boys.
Yeah.
And they go, look, we had an amazing adventure this weekend. I'm like, that's great. Here's my kid fucking water skiing.
Yeah.
Great weekend.
You're writing back like, oh, what's that, a PlayStation 2? Well, check out this PlayStation 4, dumb fuck.
I'm great to see you had a good weekend with a picnic. We've been in Bali. Check this out. My kids got their hair braided. We're doing, you want to play a game of one-upmanship, you fucking... Dude, but I should have said, when I responded, I said, sorry, mate, like, I'm cutting off, but I should have said, release him. Release. I want him out.
Boy.
The title email is release my boy, and he's sent to the wolves.
Man, I wonder what kind of freak out there would be, because World Vision's definitely going through the letters, right? They're not letting you write anything to them, or if you do write back to them, they're making sure you're not being fucked. But if you showed up in the village, you know what I mean, and you're like, "Where's my boy? I need to take my boy." Yeah. They can't stop that, you know what I mean? Like, you find the kid, and he's like, "Who are you?" And you're like, "I'm your father. I'm Andrew. I'm Andrew from Australia."
That is the mistake, right? Because it's pooled money, but all the sad families that couldn't have children emotionally connect with them, and then they do go for a trip, and it's a bit. I think it's all put on. Do you know, you know when you're in Thailand and the hot girl pretends to be into a 60-year-old? It'd be the same things with these kids, where they're like, "Oh, thank you so much, Mama Sharon. You're a beautiful. Thank you for providing." They have no contact. I would be sure that to protect the kids, they would be unaware who's sponsoring them.
Oh, absolutely. Because it would go both ways, right? Like you'd there's the potential for you to be a predator, but then on the other end, there's the potential for someone with devious plans to find your name and then call up and threaten and be like, "If you don't put money in this account, fucking, he's getting a bullet to the head, motherfucker." And you're like, "No, Gavutu, my sponsored boy. You can't shoot my sponsored boy."
The dream is to hustle them, to milk the needy ones that had barren vaginas and then ended up sponsoring a kid. And then you become the difficult teen, and then eventually in your 30s, you do what I do and move back into your parents. Do you know what I mean? And you're going like, "Look, there's been bad news. You're actually a degenerate gambler with a drug habit, but you tell them, I've been kicked out of law school, Thai law school, Mum. I've got to come home. I need to recalibrate and take stock of my life." And you know what I mean? You take advantage. But there is a weird muddying of the water, because you treat them like family, but I bet you if you have a wedding or it's someone's 90th, you don't fly them out, do you? They're not coming to your funeral.
No, of course not. It's the photo on the fridge is a representation of the good that you're doing, but
it's a
you know
cosplay
for
family.
sure, dude. Like, you know, imagine, you know, especially if some African warlord got a hold of all the World Vision slips, it'd be like, okay, if we can blackmail Andrew, one photo in the jungle with your albino sponsor kid on his knees, and they've got a knife to his throat. You're like, "Oh shit, you need to send more money now, motherfucker."
Barren Sharon gets a video. Barren Sharon gets a video of her albino sponsored child with a shotgun in the back of his hand and going, "He's been abducted. We need 10 grand. 10 grand or you'll suck a dick in the next 48 hours. And she's crying. She has to sell her Holden Captiva to try and get them off the streets. Dude, that's what we're saying. They don't shake them down.
You know, that should be, because World Vision's muddied the waters, right? They should be the ones creating that narrative. At World Vision should have a department that is dedicated to writing stories and narratives to milk more money out of Barren Sharon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, 100%. You go, "Look, emergency," and there's important email, and it says, "There's been a breach in the fence. We've lost 400. And unfortunately, your tuk-tuk was one of the group. We have to free them from an African warlord that will molest them within the next 2 days. Send money.
The next 2 days.
We've got to get militia." Instead of a shotgun, there's a man behind him with his penis out. This will be inserted. He will be molested in the next 48 hours, and it's just send money. And there's a warlord with his pants off, and they go he's behind, so he's unaware, and he's standing behind with the penis, going "You know what will happen. You've got 48 hours to save your de facto son, Tatuk."
Imagine if the immersion you would feel. You know what I mean? That's a great premise for you start off with a simple sponsor child. You know what I mean? Some offshoot. It's not World Vision. It's something else, but you still think you're being helpful. But then suddenly you're dragged into this web of deceit and mystery.
Oh, no. It's like a horror novel, and then suddenly your kid's He's saved from the warlord, and now he's going through chemotherapy because he has leukemia. And you're shaving the heads of these sponsor kids, and they're doing weekend photos where they look very sick. And you're going like, we've got bad news. He's got a very degenerative blood disorder that we have to treat. It's $40,000 to keep him alive till Christmas. And you've just got kids lining up. So you've got the young ones with the vulture. That's the opening shot. And then you've got a green screen with the warlord. And then photos of a hospital gurney. And you've got 100 kids lining up, their heads shaved. And then they hop in there and they're on a drip. And you send that to Sharon Barren, or Barren Sharon. And you go, bad news. Only a week ago, we saved him from the militia.
Yeah. Gewurzer was out of the PMC, thank God. But Sharon, we write and hate to inform you. That's something else has arisen.
During the rape kit, we uncovered leukemia.
You know the target demo for this is like any Days of Our Lives soap opera watcher. Man, you'd hook them in, and they'd be like, "Holy shit!" Like it's no longer even just like a donation thing or like a charitable thing. It's like an immersive experience where they get to live inside.
She gets to live this whole story, and then he eventually recovering, and they're like, he's training. It becomes Karate Kid. He's training on the beach. And you're like, great news. He's won the state tournament. And you've got him doing like the crane. And you're like, we need money to send him to one of the most elite grappling schools in Germany. And you're like, I can't believe it. He was saved from the militia. He's managed to beat leukemia. And now he's in the final dojo to win the Double Dragon Award.
And then quickly, Sharon, you'll never guess what has happened. He's gotten all the way through to the finals, but his opponent, who we thought was dead, is his fraternal twin brother, back from the grave. And now you need to sponsor him too.
He's fighting his twin brother, and his twin brother was in sex slavery, so he needs to be saved. I love it so much. It's so good. Then they go to uni. Then he's got a small startup.
Oh, that's good, dude. Yeah. Gewurzer is a tech genius.
He's a tech genius.
He made some great connections at the karate tournament, and he's come up with some very good ideas for a new social platform.
An application that allows you to share home-cooked meals. Can do it. But what? And she's got to go heavy. She's got to get a mortgage on her house to back her genius son, who won the karate tournament in the forest. Has now
Former paramilitary contractor.
He's now invented a chip that can track dogs. They've got to invest. And then there's bad news. Early funding was a scam. He's lost it all.
We've had a VC pull out. If you don't give him this bridging loan, he might not make round C. And as you know from previous correspondence, that is the death to small startups in this industry.
And imagine Sharon telling her friends, going, "Look, raising kids is a lot." I've been through.
Man, Barren Sharon, like she's walking into work each day. She's just got a boring HR job, but man, suddenly she has the best fucking stories. Everyone's crowded around, and she's like reading out the letters. They've got videos of his fights.
I can't believe it. She's going, "Oh my gosh." She goes, "I've bit off more than I can chew. He's just been diagnosed with schizophrenia." We can't believe it. It never ends with this boy. I love him so much. My albino sponsor child. And no one wants to hear about it because they're like, "Dude, that's a white guy. He's got privilege." We don't care about your little spoiled African white boy. And she's in tears in her car with her little texter trying to colour in his skin. He's a black kid. He's got a paint in the skin.
Oh,
and
man.
Dude, imagine that. She gets sick of paying for the texters, so she purchases a spray tan equipment for the village.
and you sent me an updated photo. Also, here's an Indota Day spa voucher. You need to take him to the day spa before you get it done.
Can you get a level 5?
I booked him in for a level 5 spray.
Can we get a level 5 spray before the next photo?
It's pure black. It's fucking car paint.
Dude, it's just charcoal. They just rub it in
Gavuna's got a matte finish.
This isn't spray can. He has to go down a chimney. It's just fucking... We're giving a work experience at a chimney. Oh, a chimney sweep. Oh, dude. Oh, it's funny, man. Dude, I actually ripped into a friend who was sponsoring.
Yeah.
Did you think it's a bit of a laugh? And she was in tears. She was emotionally connected.
Really? What was she in tears about?
Well, I said,
I need to recalibrate because I asked that thinking like what we were just talking about. I was like, well, did he lose the Karate Kid tournament? Like, and I was like, wait, no, that's not how it really works. But she was just in tears from his story.
No,
like,
it was just weak because I think he had passed away. Because I think
What?
I saw on the photo and I go, oh, he's a cutie. Or, you know, like some horrible lead. Oh, that's a cutie. And then she was like, she got all upset and then I was sort of drinking. So it's like, what happened? Like, did you stop sponsoring him? Why is he died? But he had died of natural causes or... So she had mourning.
Why would... But hold on, that flies in the face of everything that we've been talking about.
No, because they updated it and said, like, unfortunately, he's passed away. Like, he's passed away. And if you want to continue contributing, but Jamal has died.
That is fucking mental. That's fucking mental that they would send someone a letter and be like, "Hey, your sponsor kid's dead." Because I figured like what you would do, right, is you would get one kid, or let's say 100 kids, and you'd get photos of them at like 7, 9, and the whole way through, and then you'd just send those out with the fucking pre-written letters.
You think you could do what you do with a kid when the pet dies, and you just replace it with another one, preying on the racism, and they go, "Look, he looks different," and you go, "Puberty has butchered him. He's had a rough growth spurt," and you're like, "What do you mean?" Like, it's a totally different boy. Imagine if you just started sending different photos. That would be my favourite. Where you tried to do a switch up, and you're like, "This isn't my son," and you're like, "Yeah, it is. That's Stephen. That's Stephen," and you're like, "That's not Stephen," and you're like, "We'll do a Skype call. We can prove it's Stephen." And he goes, "You sent me that footy ball and a photo of you in a." I think some of the dads would send horrible photos. Hey,
that's insane that they sent her like that update though. Like they made that emotional connection. That's crazy.
They sent a photo and it just had his photo with a cross through it.
And then there were 4 others to pick from.
Oh, and they go pick another
you know
one.
when you're playing a fighting game and someone picks a character and it grays out, so you can't pick that one anymore. It's like, sorry mate, you can't be Kirby. You can be Pikachu or you can be Zelda. That's it.
Faded out, but we got 3 new ones that we just picked up from the sex slave farm. You got this one.
That is horribly emotionally it's not manipulative. I mean, that's like, of course, sure, but like that's crazy. That's crazy to get to that point. So I thought they had stops in place to make sure that didn't happen.
For $1 a day, she had like the 6 monthly photo, and now she's grieving. She's grieving. So she's invested maybe $400, and now when I'm chatting to her and she's drunk, she's bursting into tears. Because he's died. I think he just died of natural causes, man.
Yeah, I mean that does happen, right? You know what I mean? And like if World Vision's taking care of him, you're hoping it's not because he's joined a PMC.
I should have pushed her and gone, "There's been a cover up. You've got to get 4 corners. We've got to go out there." They've obviously not given him blankets. And she goes, "Blood disorder?" "Yeah, in inverted commas. More like neglect." You need to go there and say, "Show me where he died. Show me where he died. I want to see the dirt and sniff it."
I would love there to be a World Vision letter that was like, Dear Sharon, we regret to inform you that we're cancelling your direct debit as Jamal has been eaten by hyenas.
Dude, unfortunately, installing the new pool was a bad idea. None of them can swim. Installing a pool, in retrospect, installing an Olympic-sized swimming pool without a fence was a bad idea. We've lost hundreds overnight. It turns out the swim safe program in Somalia is not really comparable to Australian standards. We've lost hundreds. We've lost up. We've woken up and we've got a pool with bobbing for apples. Hundreds. The filter's blocked. We've lost 1,000 kids.
In hindsight, we shouldn't have filled the pool before we had employed the lifeguard.
The lifeguard. We thought they would know. We thought they would know to stay away from water. Instead, they ran to it to try and drink it. They're all leaning in to drink it like
Jamal, we regret to inform you Jamal has died from chlorine overdose.
They didn't die from drowning. They all drank the
He was a great swimmer, but he was very thirsty.
Dude, they're like little cats licking from the end, looking for lions. Licking like gazelle. They go.
Man, dude, there's gonna be like that's a great list of the worst ways that you could find out World Vision has been investing your money. Chlorinating all the water. That's number one.
Who knew that 100 kids would consume 80 litres, 800 gallons of water in that time frame?
Unfortunately, Jamal was found drinking straight from the chlorine bucket.
They were triggered by their past. They just couldn't resist. They'd all forced their way out of their little cages at night. Dude, imagine...
I don't think we can assert the World Vision's putting children in cages.
Dude, imagine if you had a photo of the World Vision and they go, we've lost hundreds, and you look in the background and it's like a kennel. There's cages, and you're like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I'm like, what's all that cage area? Oh, nah. Just work, that's where we grow. It's home farming or homeschooling, I don't know. What do they sleep in, dude? Do you know that's the interesting with the sponsor child? When I got mine, they never showed the sleeping arrangements or any of like their lifestyle stuff.
Well, yeah, man, because they don't want.
PlayStation?
It's that obfuscation thing. They don't want you to be able to track him down.
Dude, but I'm saying to you, like, they only ever show them in dirty paddocks wandering around. I'm like, where's all this money go? I wanted to see my guy kicking back with KFC, playing Xbox. I'm like, what the fuck? They're always never got shoes on. What the fuck's going on? Where's my money go?
I think it is mostly schools, but we should say because we've been shitting on them so fucking hard. They do have between like 72 and 83% of every dollar does get to the kids. There's
no, it's not true, dude.
There's no
World
Vision's all right.
World Vision, after all their administration costs, I think. It's about 10 to 20%.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like that's the one for World Vision I just read from like an independent study because they have all these like charity watch things. It's 28 cents of every dollar is spent on first layer of administration, and then 72 cents goes out after that.
Dude, but the thing is, a lot of them earn good money because my mate worked for World Vision, and I think he was on a few 150, 200 grand, and then he would stay in 5 stars, and they'd often fly to London for a meeting.
Oh, no.
Just, like you could have Skyped it. I'm like, why are you in London again? And he's like, well, we got another 5 sponsor kids. It was time to see.
We hit quota, baby.
I'm like, dude, I don't understand why there are photos of you in front of Big Ben. Like, what's going on? You're in front of the Eiffel Tower? What has that got to do with your Somalian albinos? Like,
yeah, you should be in front of Little Kavutu, not Big Ben.
Oh, man. But it is a weird commitment because you wonder when you cut them off. Like, do you have to stay... Once they've hit puberty, you don't really want to sponsor them anymore because they're not cute.
It's like that law that allows kids created from like sperm donation to reach out to their biological parents at 18 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you support them up until 18, then World Vision cuts them off, and then you're suddenly getting the real messages from Jamal coming through.
Oh yeah, the true ones.
Yeah.
I got none of the money.
Hey, Daddy, it's me.
Daddy, I got none of the money. There was a guy that just kept sending us photos from the London Eye and Greek Islands. Another meeting, working on world hunger. And how can you work on world hunger if you're having an elite steak in Nairobi and staying in a 5-star? Do you not think?
Man, okay, what about the other way, right? With Barren Sharon sending... she's writing back, okay, and he reaches 18, and he's like, "Thanks for all these beautiful photos and helping me get through school. I'm so excited to be going to university. You really pulled me out of poverty, and I made you this." And he sends a collage, and World Vision have been giving Gavutu photos of a different, more attractive woman.
Oh, dude, this is amazing.
And then Barren Sharon realizes that World Vision were like, "Oh, I don't know. We need to find someone more appealing."
Dude, he's not going to be motivated to learn to read with a pig like you sending the money. He's got puberty. He's got testosterone through his blood. But that must have
The World Vision kids are making, like, they're all sitting there going like, "Man, Jamal's got the hottest sponsor, Mum."
Oh, dude, this is unbelievable. If you had a Woody Allen experience where you end up, they hook up.
Oh, no.
But Barren Sharon ends up saying, "Well, look, technically we're not related, and we had an amazing connection." And do you know, like, that would be my dream. At 18, the 65-year-old Barren hooks up because she's got the Woody Allen setup. "You did everything for me, Mummy." And she goes, "Yeah, now it's time you do something for me. Get down and suck it." Dude, that must have happened. They must have been... Because you know love, you never know, love knows no race or boundaries.
Right, okay, look, I don't know why you thought race.
Love knows no race or boundaries. And there must theoretically be a soulmate right now sponsoring their soulmate.
That's true, there must be.
And yeah, age, love knows no age limit or some fucking, what's the saying?
Love knows no bounds.
Knows no age.
No, it doesn't. The age is not a thing.
Love knows
love
no
knows
age.
no bounds. Stop trying to make it interracial.
That's what my old teacher used to always say. Love knows no age. No, but I'm saying to you, like, my dream, there must have happened because in this algorithm of life, a sponsor child must have ended up hooking up with their sponsor and having a child. Do you agree?
I'm looking for it now. I'm just trying to see if I can find one where...
Dude, imagine if the sponsor child then got cocky and demanded that the son took his name. You're like, you've done... What are you talking about?
Wait,
Sharon's fun. I'm saying, imagine if he was a misogynist and he demanded that his foreign name was picked up. Do you know, as a sponsor boy? Had an argument. He'll have my last name, girl. I'm like, I've paid for everything. Whatever.
They don't have... Yeah, there's too many. There are way too many like feel good stories that if it's happened, I can't find a sponsor falling in love with their sponsor child.
Dude, it must have happened because I saw when we had the photos, and you know how you see photos in Thailand where it's all old men with prostitutes walking around. A lot of the Christmas thing, they were heavy set guys that looked like they're into Star Wars that had come out with big bags of balls, like the sponsors that had said, "We were in Indonesia and we popped into our local village." I'm saying every Christmas photo, there were 5 or 6 suspicious looking sponsors hanging around that had become too familiar with the village. And I'm like, remove that man at once. He's a pedo. I can smell it on him. Why does he keep going every year? Keep some distance. I don't even fucking look at the photos of my kids because of respect. Because I don't know if it might trigger some feelings. I won't even look at the photos. That's what I messaged. Imagine if you message World Vision and go like, no, stop sending photos because it's triggering emotions. I want to keep this professional. And you're like, the biggest sponsor is like, you go like, look, You got to stop sending photos, hey, because it's blurring the lines for me. Let's
Well, you
just
know
keep
what
this
I think is
financial.
more likely and more probable. But again, it's weird that there's no articles about this. But like you would have had the 40-hour famine in school, right? Like that would have been
Yeah.
You, like that has the same thing where it's like here's the kid and you can become pen pals. You know,
Oh,
one of
imagine
them must have ended in it being like here's like let's sort out a spousal visa. Like you come stay here.
Dude, imagine doing the 40-hour famine and then telling your sponsor kid. It's so offensive, don't you think?
It's quite it is quite offensive.
You're FaceTiming them and there's a bin full of barley sugars and loopholes. That you're allowed. You're
I
allowed
didn't eat for a
Pepsis.
whole weekend. I mean, I had snacks and a few drinks. I had juice. I was allowed to have juice and barley
Dude,
sugar.
and then you ring him and go like, oh my God, because did you hear that they tried to set up a cotton picking farm?
What do
at a
you
school?
mean? What do you
Well,
mean?
one of the teachers, because the teachers all try to do the correct things, right? It happened even at my kid's Father's Day thing. We did the Aboriginal didgeridoo, and everyone was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I'm like, this is probably pretty racist. Like, they go, pretend you're blowing on a vacuum thing. Brum, 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 brum.
Wait, no,
And we
hold on,
just-
no. This is the like the integration segregation problem is that isn't offensive. That's good. Like in New Zealand, when you're a kid, you go to Mariah's, like you have hongies, so you do the whole thing, and it's not racist because it's integrated. But in Australia, it's like, oh, I don't even know if you're allowed to touch the didgeridoo.
Yeah,
It's like that's how out of touch the white
have
people
no
are.
idea.
They're like, I don't know, isn't that thing magic? I don't think you're supposed to stay away from it, boy.
Dude, they walk up to you on the street for a cigarette and you just run off because you're like, it could be racist. I don't know how to respond. I don't know how. And I'm like, at the lights, you pull up to one and they look over at you and you just duck down and go, I just don't want to be racist. Dude, but the thing was, so they did this whole Indigenous thing for Father's Day. I don't know, the father of the land or whatever.
Yeah.
But my son was telling me, oh, they found the land, and I'm like, yeah, and then we stole it. And he goes, no, we. And I go, did they leave that bit out? That we stole it?
Oh yeah.
And he's
They
like,
left
no,
that out?
They found the land. I'm like, yeah, and then we came in and stole it and fucked it up. And he was like, no, we never stole it. I'm like, well, why are we own it now? Why, what do you think happened, mate?
Yeah.
We stole it. I don't know why they left it. They left out the stolen bit.
That's crazy.
But what had they done with this thing was, at a school in the US, they set up a slavery experience. So when it was a mixed race sort of school, when the kids rocked up, they had simulating cotton farm.
I did see there is a famous YouTube video of a guy telling a story about going out to this black guy going out to a cotton farm, black school, or lots of black kids in the school at least, and the farmer sends him off to pick cotton, and he goes home to his mother, and his mother is like, "What the fuck are you
That's what
talking
happened.
about?"
It's a well-meaning sort of Karen. Do you know one of these white ladies that has no idea? And she had simulated slavery, and then all these black families had arrived, and their kids were going to have to pick cotton for the day. And they're getting sued. I think the whole school's going to get shut down because she was going to get the whites and blacks to pick cotton for a whole day.
That's a big fuck up.
And she had no idea why, their grandparents were in tears at the memory. And like, come on, it's just a gas chamber. We're simulating it all. It's all it's a smoke machine. It's not real. Get your Jewish kid in here. This was your granddad. Choir in there. Look at that smoke pipe. It's a smoke machine. It's safe. It's an experience. Get into the bus. Get on the train. And then we all go in this dome, and I'll pump it full of smoke machine air, and you can all try claw to the top. But yeah, I can't believe it. But I like these well-meaning liberals that don't really help at all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, does Auschwitz have a gift shop now?
Dude, but it ties into what I was saying about the sponsor kids. That I think a lot of the Western sort of privileged white ladies would be disappointed if they didn't get bragging rights and they got an albino World Vision kid. And I think it's the same thing. A lot of it's all for posturing. I'm the only one that really helps, which is giving cigarettes out at the train station. That is reconciliation. I'll let them have a go at a pack of cigarettes. Did I tell you this story that happened? It was at Yagan Square.
Yeah.
And some local people.
Some indigenous.
And they came up asking for a cigarette. They were just kids.
Yeah.
And I go, dude, it's my last one. You can have a bum off it and then give it back. And then they were like, they had it and they go, okay, give it back. And they go, what are you going to do about it? Fuck you. And I was like, oh, you fucking kidding me? You're little kids. I'm going to fucking go nuts. But then I'm looking around and I'm yelling at Aboriginal people and it's not looking good. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, dude, you've backed yourself into a corner because now, like, you're yelling. What's your leg? You're like, firstly, I gave this child a cigarette.
Yeah.
Secondly, I'm angry he won't give it back. And then thirdly, there is a racial element.
Dude, that's the thing. There's racial element. I'm yelling to Aboriginal kids to give me a cigarette. And I'm fucked up. I'm like, give me a fucking cigarette. Dude, but the thing was, I couldn't do anything, and then I walked off. But because I hate losing, I bought a jug of beer, and they were below, and I stood on the beer garden area, and I was about to hurl it off onto them, and then a comic goes, "Man, this is not a good situation that you find yourself in. Like, you need to retreat. You've already looked very bad because you gave cigarettes to kids. Then you tried to fucking attack them to what people that hadn't seen you looked like you tried to mug kids for cigarettes, and now you're tipping beer on them. Like, you need to stop." But yeah, so that was it, man. That was my Yagan Square experience.
That's good, dude. I'm very happy whoever stepped in did so, because
Look at me.
not good.
Look at me. Do you know I'm actually on the ground? I'm boots on the ground. Handing out
Boy,
cigarettes.
you're trying to fight indigenous children. That's not boots on the ground.
Okay.
That's fucked.
What? You can say sorry, or you can say sorry by giving a 14-year-old girl a cigarette, which is what she wants. Who's really that is reconciliation. We might not be able to put this in.
I looked it up, and there is an Auschwitz gift shop, but it's very small and it's mostly books. So I think it's all right. You know what I mean?
Pizza ovens.
Fuck.
They're selling pizza ovens are selling hot. These clay pizza ovens.
Yeah. Well, to me, there's nothing crazier than like the sort of commodification of like Anzac Day. Like, that's the crazy one, man, where it's like Anzac Day, dawn service, very respectful, and then there's a huge drop off when the pub's open, and it's like cockroach racing, 2 up. Like, we're all. And like, you're just listening to like Last Post remixes. Like,
oh yeah. But dude, the thing is, it's sort of like the way people mourn, and they go, you have to be somber and you have to be serious. I'm like, if you don't think the Diggers, like, all they were doing was getting drunk, doing meth, 2 up. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, there's always this idea when you're at a funeral and like your granddad's a lot of fun, and then you have to make his funeral boring. I'm like, of course it's funny to move the coffin and go, he's moving, or do some pranks.
Yeah.
Or yell in there, or you know what I mean? Try climb in the coffin. Jokes, gags, it's funny. He wants that, but everyone's like, oh no, you have to have 2 years of mourning where you're just really sad. Because I said to my kids, I go like, when I die, which might be in the next few weeks, make sure you keep having fun or I'll be real pissed off because I'm irrelevant. And all that you're down here is to gorge on fun. So don't even mourn me for a minute. You should be stoked that you have less rules and you have no bedtime now.
Yeah.
And you don't have a psychopathic dad pushing his values on you. You might be saved.
And don't forget, you can twist Grand and Granddad's arm for almost fucking anything. You've learned that from me. Go nuts.
Play the sympathy card hard. Once Daddy's dead, you're at the shops, you want an ice cream, and going like, ha, 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 ha. Daddy would have given us one, but he's dead now. And then just boom, ice cream o'clock.
Man, we had this back when I was working radio. We had this joke about people always talked about the snow of '92. You know what I mean? Like, in Christchurch in 1992, big snow, mate, big snow, huge, right? And every time it would snow, invariably, someone would say, mate, it's not like 92 though. Like anyone who was old enough, it's like, mate, it's not like 92. And I got this Snapchat from my co-host like last week.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, you will not believe this. I'm at this pub and I'm sitting here having a pint and I'm listening to these two old dudes in the booth next to me, and they are talking about how this winter is nothing like the snow of 92.
Dude, I just can't believe...
It's a 30-year-old tradition now. It's beautiful.
Dude, I just can't believe it because it's triggering me, because when we went to the Father's Day thing, I sat there and I thought, you know what? Just be a cunt. I'm not going to talk to anyone unless they're interesting. So I just wandered around arrogantly and said nothing. But I overheard the chat, the weather chat. Do you know the chat where it's like, great weather, yeah, it's really freshen up, but it's going to rain on Sunday. And like so many people communicate. This is when you know it's a dud combo, is when it's weather related. And then I thought, like, what do? Do you ignore it? Or like, because I was standing in the loop and I almost said, sorry boys, I don't do weather chats. Like I wanted to say.
That's good, man.
Sorry boys, yeah, I don't really fucking do weather chat. And then just walk off. But they were saying the classic, oh yeah, it's cleaned up 6 weeks of very wet. I'm like, yeah, what is this? Just don't even bother. What is this? We end up best friends going to Thailand on a boys trip? If you're opening with shit that I can read in the paper, like, what? This is fucking nothing. Dude, but you know the thing is they get trapped in the nostalgia of the 92, because there'll be people right now that will talk of COVID in the same way. Oh,
absolutely. Yeah, it was not. Mate, it's nothing like COVID. But the 92 thing was always interesting because it was also like used as a deflection thing, or like a you weren't here, you don't know what it was like. It was gatekeeping as well. It was this like really weird thing where it'd snow and it would be miserable, but then people who were over the age of, 30, 40, whatever, they'd be like, yeah, man, but it's nothing like 92.
Oh, dude, that was the biggest piss off with Splendor in the Grass. It was almost
because that's the Splendor in the Grass, like that kind of thing, especially around Brisbane. That's the kind of thing where it's like, well, mate, it's not like the Brisbane floods.
Dude, that's 100% what I was saying. There were heaps of comics and people trying to latch on to the trauma of the bad festival and go, look, it is bad, but it's nothing like Glastonbury at 1987. I got fucking chlamydia from the mud. You know what I mean? We were swimming in mud like pigs. I'm like, why do you have to make it about you? Just shut the fuck up. You live in the suburbs now. You're irrelevant. But they're uploading photos of them in gumboots and going, oh, it's nothing like Woodstock. I was raped in a forest. You know what I mean? I'm just like, just shut up. We're moving on. Like, why do you have to live in the past? People, I find it with friends, man. You end up just talking about the good old days, and that's when you realise the milk went off. You're not creating new stories. You're like, remember that? When Gypsy Pete took his teeth out?
Well, it's very seldom that a
snowstorm?
new story is actually created. You know what I mean? Like, those are infrequent. So, like, what else are you going to talk about?
This is my vibe, man. You're walking along the main street. He goes, remember when Gypsy Pete pulled out his teeth in the 1992 snowstorm, and then you push him under a bus and go, I guess this is a better story now, isn't it? Now that you've been run over. Remember when you were talking about Gypsy Pete in the snow and I pushed you under a fucking semi-trailer and you lost use of your legs?
Well, because that's the problem, right? It's like after 10 years of friendship with someone, you've talked about everything. Like, what else? There's nothing, like, you're not going to say something and they're going to be like, wow, I never thought you would have that take on it. Or, like, even in a relationship, like, after, like, 18 months, there's no surprising the other person with, like, this is what I think. And they're like, dude, wow. Gee,
I've actually just realised
fuck.
what I'm going to do now is just make up fake anecdotes for fun. You know? You remember that Romanian girl? Do you know what I mean? And, like, just make absolute bullshit memories for people just for fun.
Right,
almost being like Roald Dahl.
That would work on me 100%.
And you'd just be like, man, remember that Romanian taxi driver? And you'd be like, yeah. And you'd be like, remember what we did in the forest? No, I don't know. Whatever. I can't.
Good dude,
think of
because
the
I had this this is a like little mini realization I had a couple weeks ago when Rudy was here, right? I lent him my phone charger. He was only here for a night, and then he gave it back, and then he like fucked off to Sunshine Coast, and I couldn't find it. I'm like walking around the house for like 30 minutes, looking like, where the fuck did I put this thing? And I'm trying to remember where he gave it to me or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I start thinking like, he did give it to me, right? Like he definitely gave it to me. I'm like, I have this memory of him giving it to me, and I messaged him. I was like, hey man. Where were we when you gave me that phone charger back? And he's like, oh, fuck, man, I'm so sorry. I packed it in my suitcase. And I was like, man, hold up. Like, are you kidding? Because, like, I've had this, like, vivid memory all day, like, that you gave this to me. Like,
this is Rudy, man.
Yeah, Rudy Lee. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying, so he probably gave it back to you, then saw you put it in the kitchen.
He stole it.
He would go, here you go. And then watched you put it in the side of your car, and then chatted to you. Oh, look, that pigeon out there. And then throw it back.
But I realized it was like an ADHD thing. I think it's like an ADHD thing where it's like, like my brain, like I decided he gave it back to me, and then my brain just filled in the gaps with false memory. And then it became impossible for me to turn it around without asking him.
This is what I've had with my parents, because my mum and me constantly arguing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like her brain is rotting. We know this because of age. But I'm like, we're arguing about facts. And I told her, I remember you going to the hospital. I remember you in a gown. There was purple carpet. You got your gallbladder or some shit removed. They deny it. They deny it. And I'm like, but I remember you had to go in, and then it probably never happened. It might have been a dream, because I had memories, I had a few memories in my house growing up as a kid. I remember, I don't know if I told you the one where I woke up and there was a ghoul on the windowsill.
What do you mean there was a ghoul?
Well, I basically, you know, like when you watch Scare Factor or something scary, there was a blackened out demon-looking man, like standing on my windowsill on the outside or inside the curtain staring in at me. And I remember it vividly. And it's like, it wasn't a real person, but I'm like, that was me maybe at 8, that I saw a demon. And that's when I turned into who I am today. I think it answered me. Because I remember you know what I used to do? I got so scared by her that I used to pull off, I had a poster of Superman, and it was life size. I pulled it off my wall and then put it above me and tucked it in, and I slept under it. So I thought if someone come in, they'd think that was Superman. That's how dumb I was. And I would sweat under there. My parents would come through, and I'm lying under a poster pretending to be Superman to protect myself.
And they're like, what are you doing? You're like, there's a gargoyle.
We definitely had that stuff in Africa, because there was definitely, when I was in the kitchen once, a guy ran in, and I saw him in there, and then he ran off. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you had the real, that was the real thing happening.
Yeah, I was standing there with the dogs in the kitchen. A guy looked in, looked me up and down, and thought, oh, he's not a looker, and then ran off.
That's fucking terrifying. I had one when I was maybe 11, and it was like, I don't know, it's pissing down with rain, and it must have been like 3 in the morning, and I hear this like rapping like this on the window,
fuck.
and like it kind of stirs me, and I'm like, oh, it's raining, man. Oh, like what is that? And then I hear it that again, and I'm like, oh, hold on, like, and suddenly I'm like, that's not rain or something blowing against the window, like that's a determined rapping, and then. I hear it again, and I'm like, at this point, I'm freaked out. I'm like, there's someone outside my window. Like, what the fuck is this? Dude. Holy shit! And I'm hot, dude. I'm like under the covers hiding. I'm like, don't move. Like, do not fucking move. And it goes on for another like 3 or 4 minutes, and it gets louder and louder until I finally hear, Josh, and I'm like, Dad, and he's like, come open the fucking door. And he's
my
gone out for a
God.
cigarette, and he's locked himself out. And I guess not wanting to wake my sisters up, he's just trying to quietly rap on my window, not realizing that I'm in there like, what the fuck?
The drama of it, man. Oh my God.
And just the horror of the rain and like the unknown and outside is there. And then, oh, fuck me.
Dude, we did that too in London, an annoying rich girl that used to come to our pub. And like we were always pranking her. And like I got her mum's laptop and changed it so that every time they moved something, it would play like, in the diggy, or like some sound effect. And they couldn't get it off. But then she had the worst thing ever, man. I felt bad about it after. Because she rang us up and goes, I'm home alone. I think there's someone here. And we knew where she lived. And then, oh, dude, I actually feel bad about this.
Yeah.
She rung in terror. And then we thought, like, we're laughing. So we went around and we started upping the ante.
Oh,
It's so bad. She was ringing us and then she was like, I can hear them on the roof. But it was actually us throwing stones on the roof. And we had her, so we're like on mute howling. And she goes, oh my God, I hear that, there's everything on the roof. And it's us throwing gravel on the roof. But we did ease her pain, but I must say, for 30 seconds, I realised I must be a psychopath. Because, you know what I mean?
That's so
to be honest,
brutal, man.
She was very annoying. And she was like a posh English person, so that probably makes it all right. And she had a lot of privilege.
Yeah, you're punching up at least. That's nice.
She went to like Oxford, and her house was amazing. So it wasn't an easy throw. I think it was like a triple story. Like we were in a good little village area. So do you know what I mean? She had a good life. So we had to attack her.
I think I've told this before. But
Maybe that story makes me seem mean. But you know you do.
No, that's funny.
Do you know when you're young?
And also, like, yeah,
young?
she's more terrified. But to your credit, like you did go around.
Yeah.
You were actually providing some blanket of safety while fucking with her.
She rang in panic. We did race round to help her. Realised it was fine, and then we obviously upped the ante.
And then you were like, I wonder if we could like traumatize this girl.
And look, when you're fucking 18, 19, I challenge anyone that wouldn't do that and think it's funny when you're that age. And
Everyone would do
puberty.
that. 100%. You're not.
Because right now, when I say it, it's despicable. But at 18, 19, everything's funny.
Well, also, like I said, man, there's no real danger. You're being a fuckhead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it would be worse to like she calls up and then you don't go around, but you find ways to fuck with her. You know what I mean? You start calling and then like heavy breathing down the phone, and she can't figure out what's going on.
I can hear them on the roof. It's worse. There's definitely someone here. We're like, it's us, you dickhead. You're fine.
Yeah, but the way worse alternative is there actually is someone there, and you're like heavy breathing phone calls, and then like you're just distracting from the actual villain who's breaking in through a skylight.
And the truth is, you are the villain, because you look after it, but then you won't leave because both of us are trying to see if we can have sex with her. Like, in her time of need. We're hanging around and she goes, all right, you can go now, it's 3 a.m. And we go like, no, girl, we must make sure you're safe. We'll sit on the end of your bed and wait. Hey, we'll wait for you. Do you know what I mean? To eventually see through our ugly Shrek facade and kiss one of us.
I think I have told a part of this story before, but there was this guy who lived in like a halfway house like around our neighborhood, who was like severely mentally ill. Like his nickname was Schizo Boy, and this was a less PC time, and my father would still call him Schizo Boy to this day because he doesn't give a fuck what
Dude, do you know what I hate about this early story? He's mentally unwell and lives in a halfway house. I'm actually lower status than him.
So this guy, like bleach blonde hair, like skinny as a fucking rake, but like one of those like crack dudes who looks like you would cross 4 streets. You know what I mean? Like if you saw him, you're like, shit. If he was between you and your place, you're like, I guess I'm staying here tonight. Like when I'm not going home. Yeah. And he would just roam around the neighborhood and try try and instigate things with people who were way, way, way bigger than him, right?
Oh my God.
This one time he was sitting up in his little halfway house and he's hit the window. And there's a group of Maori guys wandering past, and he's up there just screaming the N-word at them.
Oh my God.
Like, he is fucking screaming at them. He's like, and they're like, man, these guys are getting pretty angry. They're like trying to figure out how to get into the halfway house. Like, they can kill this guy.
Trying to get through the glass.
Yeah, and I think like someone intervened at some point. It might have even been my dad who like was, because he told me the story, so I assume he saw it, and he must have been like, man, like this guy.
No, but you know what actually happens with even the meanest person? If you seem insane enough, they know not to kick it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, I think there was a bit like, we're gonna fuck you up, bro.
Yeah.
And then that turned into like, oh, this guy's unwell. And I think whoever was around was like, hey man, this guy's like, this guy's fucked. Like, I think
that's how I've got out of a lot of fights. You either seem too drunk or you start acting crazy.
Yeah.
And they're like, the cheese thing's coming for us. And, like, you know, like, and they're like, oh, we can't hit him. He's fucking disabled.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
That's
you're not disabled. You're a coward that's now acting crazy and trying to eat food out of the bin, going, yeah, I'm a fucking ibis. I'm a bin chicken. Do you know what I mean? To get out of it. And they go, leave him, because they wouldn't kick a puppy. Even the meanest person wouldn't kick a puppy.
No, of course not. Of course not. And, you know, once you realize there's nothing to be gained by beating this person up, it's just like, oh, you're just like, oh, this is someone who needs help. But one night,
that's actually what they should do for self-defense. Do you know how girls fight or yell or go, stop, I don't like that? You should be trained to act disabled and a bit retarded. No, you know what I mean? Do you think that could protect you? Where you know what I mean? Walking late at night, and then you start like slurring your words and going, yeah, mum my hand. You know what I mean? Like, is that better?
I don't know, man. I reckon like dragging your 1 foot behind you the wrong angle, like, is either going to make you seem like more of a target to some people and less of a target to other people.
So I reckon better than a rape whistle is to yell crazy things out, and your attacker eventually feels bad for you and go like, oh, this isn't right.
This isn't even sport anymore.
There's no sport to this. She's yelling about being a bin chicken. I'm not going to get any power dynamic out of this.
So there's one night
that riff is probably not ideal. Keep talking.
There's one night, it's pitch black. I would go out to the washing line to grab my school clothes, right? And I must have been taking the last peg off, and I hear this rustling like at the fence, and I like look over. Right? And then fucking Schizo Boy's face pops up over the fence and he's like, ah! And I'm 8 years old. My fucking heart explodes. I scream. I'm like, ah! I sprint back inside. I'm like, Dad! Oh my God. Like, I think in my head, this guy is about to jump the fence and fucking get me. You know what I mean? You've seen him like around the neighborhood, like throwing rocks at cars and like jumping out at traffic or like trying to freak people out.
He's the original YouTube star. He's the Milk Boys. He's a fucking
dude. He's absolutely like he's it's a prank, bro, with mental illness.
Dude, if you put that guy on TikTok, he would go viral and be the next Nelk Boys superstars.
Yeah.
They'd be like, dude, this guy's like Steve-O. He's a fucking genius. Look at him yelling. That N-word prank is next level. It's fucking ironic. It's unbelievable. The way he jumps from behind fences and yells. Basically, is it possible to become famous with a mental health issue? Do you know what I mean? Like, could it happen?
Well, yeah, definitely, man. I think, like, you know, you've not made it, but you're on the way.
And I'm batshit crazy.
It's very intimidating as an 8-year-old, by the way, to suddenly realize that the dude who you've seen around screaming, you're just jealous because my daddy used to fuck me and he doesn't fuck you. You're like, I'm not, like, word for word, man. Like, that guy.
That's so funny, though. The guy's a great riffer.
Yeah, good riff. But it's very terrifying when he is like 1.5 meters from your face.
Dude, that's so funny though, like that dissociative disorder. Because I came in and out of it, like, you know when you do something weird? Because I had a gig and did a gala thing and I was feeling weird, like, oh, this doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
And Brody Snook convinced me to sniff the curtain to bring me into the room. But you realise, like, you've just become like a lamb to the slaughter. Because everyone looked over and I sniffing the stage curtain.
What? Wait. Why? Hold on. Go back a little bit. Well, Brody Snooks convinced you to sniff the stage.
She goes, I go, dude, this, I feel out of body. And she goes,
on stage?
No, before I went on. She goes,
Why?
go and sniff that stage curtain, and then you'll be brought back into the room.
Right. So you said to her, "I'm not feel like I feel weird. I don't feel in my body." And she's like, "Have you tried sniffing the stage curtain?"
So then I realised in hindsight it was a prank on me. Everyone looking over as I'm sniffing the stage curtain like a fucking idiot.
That's the classic, if you imagine and you're holding one above your head and you try and pour salt onto your tongue, you can actually taste salt. And you're like, it's not working, and you're like, shake harder. You gotta shake harder.
Did you see Hasbella, the little mini UFC guy?
No.
Hasabella or what?
I don't know anything about
Cinderella. He's a micro guy that pretends to be UFC, but I was saying he did that to Shaquille O'Neal, the prank, and I think he's got obnoxious now. He's a little fuck, and he shoved a burger into his face, and they all had to laugh. Oh, it's in my eyes. Do you know what I mean? No, he did it to a proper UFC star, and I'm like, I would have kicked him like a fucking football. I don't like gimmicks, but not when you're aware you're the gimmick. Do you know what I mean? When you become the little wind-up doll, and now he's arrogant, he's got the glasses. But I find everything that gets popular eventually annoys the fuck out of me. This has Bella or whatever the fucking Cinderella is just so annoying now. Because everyone's like, ha, he's small, and he pretends to fight. And I'm like, yeah, but it's over now. Like, he needs to go back and work in a fucking shoe factory in China. Get rid of it. It's over. It's at its time. Go and stitch some clothes in slave labour. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know the guy, man. I'm not.
Look him up. Look up Hasbella.
I don't know how to spell that, and I don't know what I'm going to learn from looking him up either.
Well, you'll see what he is. Hasbulla.
He's a child-looking guy. He's got GHD, growth hormone deficiency.
Yeah.
Once again, you're attacking a disabled person.
Well, I'm not attacking him.
He's a 19-year-old
Everyone's treating
Russian.
him like a fucking beanie baby, like a Furby. Like a human being. I'm like, let him get a proper job. He can go and work on the farm. Don't carry him around like a fucking Furby. You know what I mean? Like a little stuffed toy that's handed around.
Right, so he's calling. Like, he's a little dude calling out the big boys on Twitter to fight.
Well, he keeps doing like little punch things, and he shoved a burger into the Australian UFC guys. I can't.
That's quite rude. Very rude.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's not really funny. You're just a rude little fucking dwarf. I'll beat the fuck out of you.
Rude dwarf.
I would kick you over the fence, you little fucking, like a football.
Man, he should be on the shuttle to Mars, brother. That's where he should be.
Well, in my head, the funniest joke is this, right? He's the Furby, the gimmick. He gets carried away. He slaps someone like me in the face. I beat the shit out of him and go like, yeah, he's not a UFC fighter, is he? Because he's fucking, look at him now. Look at him in that tree where I kicked him. It's not as funny now, is it? I beat the fuck out of him. He's all, we all pretend he's tough. I fucking drop my knee into his face. I'm stronger than him. Imagine me on camera and they're going like, dude, it's meant to be fun. And I'm like, well, look who just beat the fuck out of him.
I don't think there's a world where you come off the good guy or the hero in this situation.
Where basically he shoves a burger in my face, I beat the fuck out of him and go like, yeah, game's over. He pretends that he's a UFC fighter's over. I decimated that little fucking stuffed toy. I fucking crushed. Do you think, that wouldn't make me look good, would it?
No,
Gotta kiss
no.
him on the head.
Yeah. I think this is another case of like he's got himself in on a little joke. He's having some fun, and you're angry that you're not in on some little joke and having.
Dude, I want to be like a politician, like the baby kisser, and keep kissing him on the head. In my head, he's a real life mini-me from Austin Powers. I'm like, it's disgusting.
He's a person.
It's not. It's a character. He's Dr. Evil's sidekick.
Did you like that? Did you like that chairman of GameStop pump and dumping Bed Bath and Beyond? Did you see that?
Oh no! Someone sent it to me. I didn't follow it through.
Dude, it's like because I was trying to figure out who the fuck it was. Right? It's just like Ryan Cohen, dude, and I was like, who is that?
Yeah.
And he's the chairman of GameStop. So it's like the ultimate meme stock has become a pump and dump scheme. This dude bought like 11.7% of all of Bed Bath and Beyond, right?
Yeah.
Driving the price up fucking crazy.
That's
70%. 70% it goes up. And then when it hits 70%, he sells every single fucking share. And so all these cunts who are on subreddits or whatever.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah,
and
dude.
And look, the hint was in the name. Bed, Bath, and Beyond. The Beyond bit was the pump and dump, like to infinity and beyond. We always had that plan. But man, what's he done wrong? He just got some greedy fuckheads and took their money.
Well, I mean, he's effectively doing or done the like the Elon Musk move, right?
Elon move.
Except
running.
Except with less like tweeting about Bed Bath and Beyond. So I don't even know if he's done anything like SEC wrong or if he's just done morally reprehensible.
Or you're doing it, you know, like when you get your, you put your feet in those baths in Indonesia where the little fish go wild and feed off it. If you're a rich person, you just buy 20% of a stock in 1 hour and then all the little feeder fish take it off your hands because they're pulling over their taxis, they're crying, oh my God, I've never seen something move like this, and you're just selling it off into them. I think you could just print money off these little feeder fish by just chumming the water and getting people, they're walking out of meetings going, I'm in for Bed Bath and Beyond for $10,000. And it's just you selling back into them. It's obviously illegal, but I've watched nothing come of it.
There was some dude I saw like a screenshot on Reddit, and it was like a text between him and his wife was like, why is there $10,000 missing from like our savings account? And he was like, oh, just a small investment. And then the next photo was him, he's put it all into BBY, and it's like crashing hard. He's like, what the fuck do I do? It's like, man, you've already fucked up. Like, what have you done, brother? That's
so
the
good.
question.
You've got to be like the meme stock where the guy that does it, then like, you know, like he does a video, a meme that goes back and it's got the Snoop Dogg, you know, with the hat, sunglasses and smoking of him selling. Do you know what I mean? Like you want that sent on the internet? Where it's like, it's the motherfucking DOG. And it's you selling it off. And you look like a nerdy guy and then it's got the sunnies and with the hat.
Well, man, this Ryan cunt pumped it up to $23.08, and it is down to $9.53. It's some people lost big chunks of money on calls. You know what's so good about it?
Dude, I've had that done with me, right? That was G88. The guy pumped it. They pumped it to $1.20 and then it trashed down. It's 4 cents now. It was a classic pump and dump. Whoever bought it, there was nothing ever there, right? It was all bullshit. Yeah. But I'm saying to you, like, this happens every day, in every stock, in every moment. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's just a few broadcasted ones, but I think this sort of shenanigans is where we need to get to. Just doing this the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what? Because you know what happens is if you make like 100 mil, it'll take a long time for them to get it back once you get teamed up with lawyers. And then, you know what I mean? Yeah. They send up a meeting to meet with them and you're like, it wasn't addressed correctly. Takes another 9 years. You argue that the font is outside of the legislation. It has to be Times New Roman. It's all invalidated. We start again. Dude, I saw that with the guy that was doing discovery in a legal case. Yeah. And he was a new guy. And the whole thing fell apart because they said, when do you want the books and records delivered? And he put 30 minutes before the trial. Like, they're meant to investigate the whole case. And they get there and they go like, yeah, here's all the extra books and regular. And they're like, what the fuck? The graduate booked it. We got 30 minutes to read 90 days of data. Like,
Yeah.
You know those little hiccups? Because I think if you get rich enough, no one can get you. Because you can just argue everything. And they go, we'll meet on the 15th of December. And you're like, what is time?
Yeah, we're actually in the middle of a separate court case trying to figure out what time is and how we experience it. Like, is it truly the fourth dimension? And if so, like, are we not all sort of bereft of free choice? And then it's not really my fault if that's the case. It's like, man, yeah, it's gonna be some time till we wrap up this BBBY case because we're trying to determine whether or not Ryan Cohen had free will.
We don't know he has free will, and we also know that every moment is unique. So how then can you define it using a metric?
Ryan's like,
imagine
that, dude. You're in court and you're like, look, first of all,
Ryan doesn't believe in the calendar, so this case is not even happening.
First of all, I don't believe in the calendar. Then second of all, if we're to believe that time is the fourth dimension, then we must believe in the fifth, sixth, seventh, up to 10th, right? And in the sixth dimension, there is a version of me who never did this crime.
Oh, dude.
In fact, there are infinite versions of me that never did this crime. And I think we should be more focused on the infinite versions of me that never committed this crime than the one version of me that is possibly committed this heinous crime.
And, dude, this is amazing. So you're like, permission from the court to put they seek approval to put all the jurors on DMT so they can see it from your perspective. We're like, permission from the judge to administer their acid. So
that is good, man.
So they can experience time in the way that it was intended. And they've got to be on acid before you can agree that time, the spectrum of time exists. I love this.
Yeah. And you've got the jury, like the head of the jury there. He's like, after 4 weeks of deliberation, I'm regretful to admit that we have sort of come to a hung jury conclusion as we didn't feel there was adequate representation of shadow people on this jury. And in fact, we haven't even selected one of those mechanical elvish gnomes who we all saw during our D&D trip to be a part of the selected jury.
It's amazing. And they go, do you find him guilty? Yeah, guilty of being taken advantage of in a simulation. Oh, dude, I have to make a move soon.
How soon?
Like in the next few minutes.
Oh man!
I gotta go get my car.
I had a couple really good things in here.
Dude, well, we've got to always
dude, like, I mean, how's this? I've got nothing for it, but I've just written down, I'm so gay I have my own LGBTQR code.
Oh, that's so good.
I don't know what to do with it, though. What do we even do with that?
Someone had a really good one, LGBTQ, yeah, in the same vein. I forget it, but it was Crusher.
I don't know about it, and I don't think you should be tearing me down right now.
No, I love it because what I was saying is, you know how even everyone has their day. Every dog has its day. Even the worst open micer, I think this was an awful open micer. He stumbled into the LGBTQ, and I wish I could remember the joke, but I was like, oh my God, sifting through shit for 8 years. This cunt has found a diamond, but it's a one tagline that I will now steal from him. No, I won't, but I'm like, do you know when someone is just like, I'm like, how did he do that? He's so mediocre. I wish I remembered the joke. It was terrific.
We don't have to. That's fine. We can do our own jokes. And man, I had a whole. We spent after our episode, we were talking about Bane. Dalton and I spent like a good 2 hours doing like the roast of Batman at Arkham City or Gotham City, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But it's Bane. They'd be like, oh, great to see Harvey Dent. At least it's pretty good to see his right side. I don't know why they call him Two-Face. Isn't that every lawyer? Hello? Is this thing on? Everybody,
so funny.
Batman's here. It's great to see Batman.
Batman.
Is Bruce Wayne in the audience? No? Shocking.
There's Chris Hemsworth, Thor's there. And you go, what happened with that last movie?
No, wrong universe.
Is it the wrong universe?
Yeah. The only other, because I was trying to figure out who else is in there. Like, the Flash. The Flash was on stage tonight. You know, Barry discovered his powers pretty late in life, but women have been calling him the Flash for years.
Dude, this is funny to also do. You know, like when the celebrities do songs to raise awareness.
Oh yeah. Like they were all doing Imagine during COVID or whatever the fuck.
Imagine that with all those characters. If someone made that video clip, it'd be hilarious. Imagine all, and it's the various voices. It's Bane, it's Mr. Whip, or whatever the fuck, I don't know.
I really like the idea that Bane's getting like he's up there getting frustrated that no one knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne. He's like, is Bruce here tonight? What a surprise!
That is endless comedy,
Guys,
man,
come on! Does no one get this? It's so fucking obvious.
that is never
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up, Brain!
Because you got to imagine him as a baby, and then I've been doing it with stand-up.
Yeah, where does he get the mask? Does he have the mask as a baby?
Dude, what's the first day when they put the baby mask on? Do you know what I mean? There must have been a moment. Or was he suckling through the mask to get the teeth?
Dude,
You know what I mean?
I read yesterday. Winston Churchill had they took him up like 15,000 feet on some RAF thing, right? And when he was being fitted for a flight suit, he demanded that they make an oxygen mask with a hole so he could smoke cigars while he was on the fucking
I love
plane.
that guy.
And they did it.
Dude, you know what's so good about him? He would have had like the COVID mask with the hole in it for like,
Yeah, dude.
Dude, but you gotta love that guy because he had bipolar and he was going mania and he had this whole theory where he was like, I only need to sleep in 2-hour chunks. And I'm like, you're obviously experiencing extreme mania, you motherfucker. He had chronic bipolar and they go like, he never sleeps. And I'm like, yeah, this sounds like my symptoms. I know what he's doing. He just can't sleep. And you go, yeah, but he's in full warfare at that point.
Yeah.
This big thing would have triggered it. I don't know how he navigated through because he saved us. Do you know the photo I saw him in? Have you seen that historic pictures brought back to life?
No.
When I show videos, they had a video of him going down a water slide and then his bathers came off. Do you know that? But I'm saying like, you know those weird ideas where you don't imagine them? Do you know, like, because you don't imagine like Hitler on a holiday.
Yeah,
Imagine
of course.
him on a water slide.
Dude, it's like watching that footage of Hitler with his German shepherds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
It's
what I'm
so
saying.
humanizing, and you're like, what? Hold on, this man's a monster. What the fuck is going on? What am I watching?
Dude, and it's like the bit I was saying, like, you can't imagine the Queen on her period having diarrhea in India. Or getting teddy fucked by Prince Philip, you know, with Charles listening in. Like, you can't imagine certain things. And it ties into our Ghost on Plane bit. What, man, out of interest, Ghost on Planes, very bad bit.
I, again, don't know if it's the bit or if it's you and what you've done with the premise.
Okay, because I did it last night.
Can I just say quickly, by the way, it's just before we get off it, I did also look up and saw, I didn't know this at all because I've never seen a photo of this, but apparently Churchill would just roll around and he had a collection of velvet suits, like just like one color velvet suits, and he's like rolling around in these red and green velvet suits, smoking 10 cigars a day with a fucking cane. And I had never seen the suits before, and that blew my fucking mind, dude. Like George Costanza.
You know who based their entire comedy career off him was Rodney Dangerfield. Is basically a parody of Churchill. I think Churchill was the original. He used to wander around in a gown, smoking, being irreverent with his dick out. I heard Churchill used to have his dick out all the time.
Oh, yeah, he thought that was very funny. But anyway, Ghost playing Ghost. What was this?
Dangerfield's just a tribute act to Churchill.
Yeah, but playing Ghost. What was this last night?
Oh, dude, unbelievable. So I'm riffing, and I've somehow got 4 people in the crowd on board to the bit about the molestation. The molestation, it's bad in the stomach. And then I did the bit stranger danger. What if the strangers, their new stepdad Steve? And I'm going, that's going all right.
Yeah.
And then I go, anyway, can you guys imagine ghosts on plane? So flat, man. But I don't know if I've got a premise there. I'm like, it's weird, huh?
That's because you've jumped ahead, man. The premise was never ghosts on planes. We arrived at ghosts on planes from a whole bunch of other ghost material. We didn't start with ghosts on planes. That was the culmination of a ghost-based bit that we had. Because the bit that we had was ghosts, and then the worst thing that could happen for a ghost is you kill the person you're haunting, and then suddenly it's like, I'm gonna fuck you up, man.
Yeah, that's the bit.
Then the ghost is fucked.
And then we went into Ghosts on Planes. I just started.
We had a bunch of steps between Ghosts on Planes.
I start on Ghosts on Planes, but then I do diversity and do the shadows joke, and that's part of it.
That's not the bit. The bit we ended up on was it would be very funny to dress up in first class like a ghost and walk through economy when they turn all the lights off and be a spooky ghost on a plane.
Dude,
I still think is hilarious.
Dude, I love your idea of Bane in different scenarios, because I was thinking of other shows. They could be on like Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brother. What's another one? Love Island.
Bane's the most hilarious super villain to me. He's so fucking stupid.
Imagine them on an Apprentice where Spider-Man's fucked up. And you're like, dude, we're trying to sell sun cream on the beach. You fucking fucked it up. Every scenario you can put them in, don't you think?
Yeah, it's good, man. It's really good. Like they have I do hate superhero stuff as a general rule. I don't watch it, but I did watch the first couple episodes of She-Hulk because the lead is on Comedy Bang Bang. And the thing with She-Hulk is it's a lawyer show because She-Hulk is a lawyer, and that's a fun little premise. You know what I mean? But already it's gotten boring for me.
It speaks volumes because you're not a nerd. The only people that like superhero stuff are cowards and inept little men
and children.
Yeah, that can't.
You say this, by the way, as there's from Hard Yarns. I imagine there's a fucking Avengers poster framed behind.
Oh yeah, man. No, but I'm saying, inept little men that can't take action in their real life love the fantasy of he's a journalist that gets bullied. And then by night, he's Batman, or Superman, or whoever the fuck. And I'm like, one day I'll rise up and do a school shooting. Today, I sit there quietly as he throws spitballs at my back. And I look at a magazine with Spider-Man. If I could just get bitten in the shed by a spider, I wouldn't be an inept little coward bitch.
Man, it's exactly the same people who are writing in their fucking notes app. They're like, these people don't know what I'm capable of. When they see the true me, they will understand that they have made a grave mistake in underestimating my powers. You're like, whoa, brother, like, man, what are you talking about, dude?
I'll rise. And what you really need to do is grab their comic, rip out the last 40 pages where he becomes a superhero and go, actually, that's how your life ends, cunt. Yeah. You get bullied.
Yeah, dude. Your life ends at you taking fucking photos of a girl you're too afraid to ask out at a science fair.
There's you driving past your soulmate's house at speed, looking in and then driving on. And that's the only connection you ever have.
Yeah, man. Dude, like, it's like the villain version of that, right? It's like, man, you don't become Bane, dude. You get the mask fitted because of your, like, chronic emphysema, and you fucking die.
Yeah, that's a sleep apnea mask. Dude, it just made me think of the dream prank, which is ex-girlfriends. I'd love them to spot me in the bushes at their weddings. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Andrew, is that you? And I'm like, sorry, hey, I was just here looking for a tennis ball. And run off. And they go, oh my God, that guy's a fucking weirdo. Don't you think it'd be funny for them to randomly spot you?
That's very funny.
There
are lots of great, like, at your own expense pranks. You know what I mean? Like, that's a fucking beautiful one.
The dream prank where there's a beach wedding in Thailand and they look over and you're lying on a towel nearby. Looking And I go, that's weird. And yeah, I got my passport rushed so I could get here. It's so weird that we're on this private island together. It cost me $9,000 to get here. Last minute flights. Dude, I think I'm going to do that. I don't have many exes. And I think they're all married now because they're all old bags.
they found happiness, you mean?
Oh, dude, happiness is not good on the face.
I think you would probably be a really good, like a good slap to the face wake up call. You know what I mean? Like a break up with you.
Yeah.
Like they're like, okay, I have to find the complete opposite of what just happened.
Oh, dude. Dude, I feel bad though because they keep putting photos up, and I used to be skinnier, and I'm like, it's so annoying for comedy headshots where they get stage shots, and I'm like, don't let her have the victory. I was sweaty. Fuck you.
All right, let's do.
Picks of the week.
What were we thinking? You were talking about something else. I had something last. Oh no, I was saying because it's like Leonardo DiCaprio. Did you notice? Have you heard his story with young girls that he dumps?
He dumps them at 25 thing. Yeah.
He's just done it. He's just done it now with his latest one. She hit 25.
2 weeks of being 25, and she's been bounced out.
Dude, at least he's trying to get better. Like he gave her 2 weeks, but then he was this pussy's drying
I saw a
up.
very funny comment, and it was like, it's really her fault. Leo gave her 2 weeks to invent a time machine or find the fountain of youth, and she wasn't able to do it.
Dude, I just love being that. It's like having a particular fetish, and you need certain caviar for him to no longer be titillated by the pussy after 25. He's out.
I wonder if the next one came in earlier and was like, oh, I'm 18, but she was actually 20. And then, like, 2 years, like, when she's 27, she does the big reveal. She's like, I'm actually 27. And he's like, oh my God, I've been tricked. What the fuck?
Dude, that's how you could save him. Like, my mates did it with my coffee addiction, where you put decaf in, you trick him.
Yeah.
Because it's like Princess and the Pea. I think at 25, he's like, nah, just doesn't feel as good. Something's off. But you could probably lie and get someone with that, like, growth disorder that's actually 57.
Who looks like an 8-year-old.
And you could go, we've saved you, dude. She's 67. She has no pituitary gland. And you're like, you've been banging a 67-year-old freak. And he goes, I'm healed. Now I only want to bang freaks without growth hormone.
Anytime this sort of thing comes up, it always just reminds me of the word ebophile, right? Which is someone who's attracted to, like, teenage girls, like in 16 to like 20-ish mark, right? Then the second thought from there is like knowing the word ebophile and bringing up the word ebophile makes you a creep. You know what I mean? It's
dude, I love
the
that
distinction.
bit.
If you like when you're distinguishing between pedophilia or whatever, and that just it just makes me laugh.
Oh, dude, I love it because you know the categories, and they go dude, you're a paedophile, and you go, actually, it's a Section 4.8 violation.
It's someone with a fucking poster on their wall that has the age of consent in different Southeast Asian countries.
I used to have it on a shirt when I was around Europe, and it was like Romania, and they were like 14, and I had it on my shirt, like Romania, fucking Prague, and you're there pointing at...
Fucking Christ.
Dude, but I was saying, like, it is like someone that knows, when they go, oh, that's kiddie porn offence, and you're like, no... It's a Section 48 violation. It's a misdemeanor. Because I didn't actually, I blurred out the penis.
Yeah, it's actually the distinction. He's actually an ebophile. He's not a pedophile. A pedophile is attracted to young children. He's actually attracted to like teens, that kind of area, like a sort of grey area. You know, there's lots of like legal disputes about it. Like, brother, you know too much.
Dude, can I ask you this? Is it illegal to create AI pedophilia pictures of kids?
That is a very like contentious issue that they've been talking about, right? Like, is it okay to create artificial child pornography for pedophiles so there's no one being harmed?
Well, more than that, dude, like sex dolls. That's a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I know.
What are you doing? And you're actually fucking a toaster, but you're also a sicker. But you know what I mean? Like, where does the line blur? And I asked this for a friend. What is the technicality? Like,
Dude, that's a good. You know what? And you know what? It's a good business model because you're saving a lot on production costs. Less latex, less silicon, less everything. And if you go young enough, you don't even really have to program in like AI voice.
Alright, mate. Perfect. But then I'm like, do you think people would be happy with that? Like, they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't let you have a sex doll that old. But you might be able to just have a glory hole and go just use your imagination.
Well, there's a lot of countries where like depictions of child, like if you know how like people draw pictures of like the Simpsons family fucking, you know what I mean, like cartoon characters or whatever.
Yeah,
like, there are countries where
illegal.
that's super illegal as well.
Dude, I was thinking about that with the cave drawings. Like, a lot of the stuff you see going on was probably people shaming them with graffiti. Going like, he fucked a demon. But I was eventually, like, it will just be the void. There'll be a glory hole that you fuck and you use your own special equipment to imagine whatever it is. Do you know? Just be a greased up hole and you'll be like, where you headed? I'm going to the void to get my groove on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that way it'll be legal. You just fuck it, and you're like, yeah, I'm thinking of a fucking animal, whatever.
Yeah, you were thinking of imagination. You know what I mean? Like you that already exists, man. You can have a wank and close your eyes.
Yeah, you know what? I can sleep with a prostitute and imagine a 5-year-old boy, and I'm not going to jail.
And that's the trick, bro. With your imagination, no one can do anything about it.
And they go, oh, you're a creep, and I'm like, technically, I'm not. It's all in my imagination. Do you know, as she's jerking off, and I'm like, you wouldn't want to know what I'm thinking about right now. And they go, he needs to go to jail. He keeps putting in, because it's that standard thing, you know, when the guys give you advice and you're like, if you want to last longer, pretend you're like sleeping with your mum.
Oh.
I did that for a while.
I hate that, man. I hate that because people like you saying that, man. That's gonna become a fucking intrusive thought.
That's what happened to me. And then you're like, you stop having sex because you're like, yeah, I'm lasting longer, but I'm sick of fucking my mom.
That's very good. Okay, picks of the week. Picks of the week. I've got an overarching pick of the week that I'd like to posit first, right? And that is, if you're reading about it on news.com.au, it is too late. Do not buy it.
Dude, you got to be on the front line with the taxi drivers and the hairdressers. We're all
yeah.
If you're a hairdresser, if the plumber that comes around has a hot tip, get back it, girl. You're on. Dude, I'm still waiting for my tips. I'm still waiting on Talon and TMK. And obviously I'm just waiting on it. Hazia, we're waiting. They'll get that next year. So we worked out the move, right? Talon, I 5-bag. TMK, you can 10-bag on that. Then we double that back down.
What is the timeline on TMK, though?
I think by January it'll be taken over by the Chinese at 5 times its current price.
Because it's Mongolian?
Allegedly. Yeah, the Mongolian thing.
Okay, right.
But so we get a 5 to 10 bag there.
Wait, no, we don't need to go with like what the fucking strategy is for 10
And then the timing.
But at the moment you're in TPD and Azure, right?
I'm also still in WGO.
I am also still in WGO,
yeah,
and I also have a stake in MSB.
Dude, but like, why get upset? Because it's gas. Do you know, like when you've eaten a lot of pizza, you've been drinking a lot, the gas is in you, you know that fart's coming. That's the WGO analogy, right? It's a build-up of gas in a heavy-set woman, and when that blasts, it's going to rip a hole in the sofa, man. We're going to get rich, baby! What? And we're going to get rich!
What's the, what is the status of MSB at the moment?
I mentioned it a long time ago, right? Once they were denied by FDA because of Big Pharma, it's like it's on the back burner for the foreseeable future.
But do you think it's ever coming back?
It's a very hard one, man, because one of the biggest perils for R&D business is managing cash flows.
Yeah.
And Big Pharma has done such a great blow on it because they should have been pulling in hundreds of mil already on this first product. That's been delayed by 2 years. And I've seen it before where eventually they just run out of options.
Yeah.
And they have to hand over the IP cheaply to a big farmer.
Will they hand over the IP, or will they be bought out as a company?
Well, no. Often what they'll do is just, it's almost like a python, like they just fucking strangle it and they pick it up on the cheap. I've seen like...
But so if that happens, there's no like our shares.
There's no redemption story. It's just basically they starve you out. You eventually go into liquidation and they pick it up on the cheap.
Fuck.
And then a year later, FDA approves it, and you see a big fat man with Snoop Dogg sunnies on, from Big Pharma.
No.
But the other option, and Nova's still around. I don't really look in it. I really like these gas plays, dude, because
you do like these gas plays.
Well, it's like a fart, dude. It's got to come out.
It has to come out at some point.
Because Stokes from Beach Energy has spoken at depth that he's going to acquire neighbouring gas plays, and that's what we've been buying from the beginning.
Is there anything that we like that is not in the energy, gas, oil?
Not hydrogen, his ear one.
Okay, how about something that's not on the fucking periodic table? Have we got anything we like in that sphere? Is there anything interesting happening in Australian tech?
Well, eventually, that NEAR map that I pushed for years, that got taken over for some clients. Yeah, but not at a good price, about $2.20.
And what was it? Did you have any?
Yeah, but I didn't do that well out of it. I didn't have a big exposure because during this crash, it had fallen to $1 again. I've been buying up lower. But the space is very hard now because of we're in a bear cycle.
It's still listed. NEA's still listed.
Yeah, well, it's up for debate. It's up for approval to whether they take that.
What year was it? This September of 2020, right?
Oh, dude, you gotta hate what I had because.
Oh yeah, it's still down from when we were talking about it. It's just been on a slow decline.
Obviously, I end up hitting a few stocks, but I mean, from when I first picked it at 40 cents.
Yeah, that's good.
And then we went to 450, and I had a few $100K in there. If I hadn't had a divorce and lots of issues, I would have been a very rich man now.
If lots of things didn't happen, yeah.
So pick this. If I had two different sets of parents.
yeah. Man, that's that fucking French dude on that fucking British morning show, and the woman's like, this is close to a British carbonara, and he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And she's like, if you change this and this, and he's like, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bicycle.
Dude, that is funny though, how people try to go compare things when they travel. This is a lot like Cottesloe Beach. It's the same vibe. This food's like, this is just like a cheeseburger, really. I'm like, it's not really, though, is it, you dumb fuck? It's not really, is it? This is just like a sandwich. No, it's not, though, is it, you dumb cunt?
I think a good pick, right?
It's like, a toothpick. Okay.
Sorry. Get in front of World Vision and start funding some of these kids directly, right? Get them through whatever uni or whatever, and then get them on contracts. Because out of like what you're paying a buck a day or whatever it is, you get a couple thousand kids. One of them will patent something. And you could bank on them. This is like having kids of your own and putting them through a good school system so that hopefully they take care of you later.
We've always talking about getting shares in destitute kids because that's where all the great ones come. You just hand a pack of gum to their parents or like a dollar bet or a carton of beer and you get 10% of their future signed across.
Well, man, imagine, right? Like, imagine the scholarship opportunities if you've got a bunch of kids from third world nations and you're going through, dude, you putting through applications and like the greatest cover letter like sob stories of all time. Like, you get a couple hundred kids, man, you're getting scholarships for a good few of them.
Dude, and all the applications just a paw print, like a little. Dude, but I gotta say something. Do you think, like, because how people scammed and said I was cured from cancer? Do you think I could try get my kids sponsored on that same spray tan Like put it online?
When I was looking it up, there was an Australian version of World Vision where
Imagine how angry they would be, like racial appropriation. They've got frizzy hair, they've got a spray tan, and then finds out it's a Western Australian website.
So you want to create a World Vision, pretend it's Africa, and then
oh no! Look, I don't think I want to do that. I just want to show.
Okay, good.
I want to show my kids like demanding breakfast and go like, "Sorry, mate, I gambled it all away," and then go like, "Worried about this boy? Step in and become a sponsor." Frightened for this man as I come home drunk and going, "Hey, put them down."
That's
Are they
funny, man.
asleep?
That's fun, but you sell it like a PSA, and everyone thinks like it's a representation of a family, but it's actually just you.
And it's sort of a video. I come in stumbling and drunk, going, "I've lost it all on the dogs. I've been trapped. And the boy's been put to sleep," and then it pauses and goes, "You could be," and then it plays that music. Worried about this situation? Invest today in sponsor. You know what I mean, mate? It gets all normal. But it's my actual real life.
W.A. World Vision.
Earl Vision, and they go like...
It's World Vision with an A at the after the W, and you're in, baby.
It's time to stop this. Stop what's happening in front of your eyes and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. You make
Stop what's happening at 315 Eagle Lane.
Dude, and it's so good. Like the money gets direct debited to what appears to be a sports bet account. They're like, why is this? It's a sports bet account number. Anyway, man, let's call it, dude. I'll speak to you later.
Cheers, Con.
See you, mate.
15 overexposed bad positions, looming threat.